Welcome to Unschool, where we undoctrinate you from public school nonsense. All right, I just came across this post from Elon Musk discussing how Democrats cheat the system using illegal immigration. And we all know that this has been very intentional. Trump was calling for a border wall for 8 years, and a lot of people who wanted to have a massive influx of illegal immigrants didn't want that, so they stopped it from happening. And now it's the biggest issue for Americans, right? The biggest issue, right, almost as high as the economy, is this illegal immigration issue. But right here, Elon Musk says most Americans do not know that the U.S. Census currently counts, for purposes of voting power, all people in a district, regardless of citizenship. Senate Democrats just voted unanimously to defeat an amendment that would have stopped counting illegals for congressional seat apportionment and electoral college presidential votes. So, isn't that odd? The people who claim that they want to get rid of the electoral college are using it to their advantage. Well, yeah, actually, if you got rid of the electoral college and just had a straight vote, and they succeeded in getting illegal immigrants to vote, like they've tried in some cities across the country now, then they would be able to cheat the system and try to win every election. He continues here, since illegals are mostly in Democrat states, both the House and presidential vote are shifted 5% to the left, which is enough to change the entire balance of power. Exclamation point. Emphasis his and also mine, because that's just messed up. 5% to the left. Would they ever win a presidential election if they didn't have that 5% advantage? They know Gen Z is going more conservative. They know Gen Z is supporting Trump, and they don't want to deal with that problem. So they're going to bring in a bunch of illegal individuals. And I'm not against immigration. I'm very pro immigration, but it should be legal. They should go through the process. You can't have millions of illegal immigrants and a welfare state simultaneously. Just that's the end of the state. He continues on. This is a major reason why the Biden administration is ushering in record levels of illegals and doing so few deportations. You know, Trump engaged in quite a lot of deportations. So it says not a single Democrat just voted for Senator Bill Hagerty's amendment to stop illegal and aliens from being counted in apportionment for congressional districts and the Electoral College. Okay, so that's pretty messed up. All they want is more power, and I think that's really unfortunate. We don't have much in the way of compromise between the right and the left, and we could have gotten that had Democrats agreed to build a giant border wall. James Woods wrote why Democrats love illegal aliens. For every 770,000 illegals who filled out the 2010 U.S. Census in a sanctuary city or state, the Democrats got another seat in the U.S. House of Representatives apportioned to them. Fortunately for us, California is running itself into the ground, so they're still losing hundreds of thousands of people over the last few years. So they might continue losing seats even though they bring in tons of illegal immigrants. But, it's definitely been a problem. So let's watch this video from Tucker Carlson real quick where he discusses the same issues.
First, you need to understand. Yale University released a study last week by 3 researchers, all of them liberal, I believe, who concluded that the actual number of illegal aliens in this country is not 11 million. It's north of 22 million. 22 million.
11 million is what they claimed back in the 90s. I don't know if all of you remember that, but it probably is a lot higher than that now.
Fact 1. Fact 2. The Democratic Party is now, as a matter of policy, calling for the legalization of all illegals in this country. Citizenship voting rights.
Those are voters that will vote Democrat to get more free crap, to get debit cards with thousands of dollars on them already, like they're doing in New York under the racist Mayor Adams.
2 million new voters. Fact 3. The overwhelming majority of first-time immigrant voters vote Democrat. Fact 4. The largest margin in American presidential history was 17 million votes. 1984 election between Mondale and Reagan.
Reagan, yeah.
17 million. You would add to our voter rolls 22 million, at least, permanent electoral majority in perpetuity. That's what this is about. It's not about making the country better, serving our labor needs, helping the population. It's about putting Democrats in power forever. That is the truth of our immigration debate, period.
So that's pretty disturbing. They're doing everything they can to abuse the system. So, and Trump tried to stop this from happening. They said Trump barred illegal immigrant numbers in the census from being included, or tried to stop them from being included in congressional appointments. Biden reversed it. He also wanted a question on the census asking people if they were illegal or not, but unfortunately, that did not go forward. Um, so here's again, that policy. So you can read this article if you want from phyllisschlafly.com, which talks further about this Census Bureau abusement. Here it says here the Supreme Court was wrong to bar President Trump from including a question about citizenship status on the 2020 census form. It was a clear-cut case of judicial supremacy. The judges thought they had the right to make laws rather than interpret them. Thankfully, President Trump vowed not to let the issue drop there. He followed through on the promise by signing a memorandum to bar illegal immigrants from being counted for congressional reapportionment. But, we don't know if that will be the case or if that will continue going forward. So, and this article from tabletmag.com says, our open border policy is not an accident. Of course it isn't. The unprecedented chaos at the U.S. border and in major American cities that has been caused by the Biden administration's immigration policies finally seems to have moved to the center of national political debate and public awareness. Over the past 3 years, the Biden administration has effectively rewritten U.S. immigration law, creating an entirely new stream of quasi-legal immigration under the rubric of parole. The discretion of the federal government to grant parole or legal residence and work permits to a small number of refugees. That's the key part, a small number of people claiming asylum, right? And other foreign nationals has been used by the Biden administration to rip a hole in America's southern border in order to invite millions of foreign nationals, most of them from Latin America and Central America and the Caribbean, to travel to the U.S. border, from which they are dispersed across the country and supported chiefly by state and local governments and government-funded NGOs. As of September 2023, an estimated 3.8 illegal immigrants entered the U.S. under the Biden administration. Well, it's now up to 7.5 million. So this number might have been underestimated, or we just got millions more in the past year, which wouldn't be surprising either. And it's pretty disturbing. So of these, 2.3 million have been given notices to appear NTAs before an immigration court, which could allow them to stay in the U.S. in a twilight status 4 years before a court date. And Democrats have been trying this for years. Remember the DREAM Act from way back in like 2010. They've been trying to do this for quite some time, and the goal is to get more votes for them so they can stay in power, as Tucker Carlson said, in perpetuity. So this has become now the main concern for Americans: the immigration surge and the strain on our not just welfare systems, but also our legal systems. We're just leaving them, as we said before, to live as they will inside the country, waiting for a court date. I mean, that's just completely ridiculous. So it says here, the American people believe immigration is now the most important issue facing the country, according to a new Gallup poll, which marks the first time since 2019 that respondents have identified immigration as their most pressing concern. So I guess bigger than the economy, according to this survey. The survey conducted from February 1st to 20th found that 28% of Americans believe immigration is the most important problem facing the country, an 8-point increase from the month prior, because the news came out that obviously, 7.5 million is quite a lot. So it's quite a huge problem. But, here's some other articles from previous years about Democrats attempting to use illegal aliens to boost their own party, which is what they're doing. They're not trying to appeal to Americans. They just use people who are parts of, who have some minority status as as tools to gain more power. It's quite sad. So I don't see this happening, or I don't see this changing anytime soon, but I hope that it does.